All right, everybody, Facebook fans, anybody that's a football fanatic, anybody that loves predicting football games, anybody that likes listening to my podcasts each and every week, thank you. Welcome to my live stream here tonight, where we will be going over the next round of the NFL playoffs, and that is the divisional round of the 2023 NFL playoffs. So, thank you so much for everybody tuning in. We have one person on so far. That one person that's on right now, please go ahead and spread the word around so that way we can get some more people on if they wish. And then all will be good from there. So, thank you everybody for tuning in. Obviously, it's been kind of a crazy week for me. I've had a lot go on, so it's interesting. It's going to be really fun, and I hope that I hope it's going to be a great week of football. We did see some good games last week, but I think this is probably going to be even better this week than it was last week. I know we had a lot of close games last week, a lot of familiar foes and teams that we they see every year and quite often. But this week, I think we're going to see a lot more, a lot more rematches. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more action go on. I think we're going to see a lot of teams really take it to that next level. And I'm really excited to see where it will be taking us. So before we get started and more in depth of what I'll be talking about tonight in the games and my predictions, please go ahead and do so if you have not done so already. Drop a like on this video. Leave a comment down below if you wish. The content that I provide to you is very important to me. To me, it's very important, and I really want to make sure that you guys are getting the best content possible. So if you please can go ahead, drop a like on this video, leave a comment down below, and tell me, please guys, tell me, what kind of content do you want me to provide for you moving forward? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to be able to talk with you guys. I want to be able to keep you guys entertained. I want to keep the subscribers. I want to get more views, man. So do that. And also, if you have not done so already too, but you continuously watch every single week, hit that subscribe button too. Hit the notification bell anytime that you see me go live, or if I post any new content on, whether if it's a pre-recorded video, whether if it's live or vice versa, you will be notified every single time when I do have all those things posted, and then you'll have an opportunity to never miss out on what I have posted for you guys. So do me all the favor, please do all the things I've asked you to do. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and all will be good, and the channel will grow to be bigger and better than it already is. So without further ado, let us go ahead and let us begin with the first game that will be happening tomorrow on Saturday at 4:30, I want to say. I think it's going to be at 4:30. The first game, 4:30 tomorrow. We've got the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Chiefs are favored in this game by 8.5 points. So this game is going to be filmed. It's going to be broadcast by NBC Sunday Night Football with Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth. So what do I think about this game? Well, let's talk about the last matchup. So the last time these two met up, the last time they matched up with each other, it was a little bit more of like a tilt in some ways. I think Jacksonville was just at that time trying to figure out what their identity was going to be. I think they were kind of just figuring things out and seeing what they can play around with a little bit. And they were a team that were still getting to be pretty good. They were still a decent team. They were playing a lot of really close games too, and they had a good shot of coming back and beating the Chiefs. I'm sorry, I almost messed that up. They had an opportunity to come back into the game and beat the Chiefs, but the Chiefs do what they normally do. They play really hard in the first half. Then afterwards, Mahomes just starts playing stupid football. He'll either throw interceptions or turn the ball over, and the defense just gives up a ton of points. And I feel like the Chiefs' defense is getting progressively worse. I don't think they're very good at all, outside of Chris Jones, the defensive back. And the corners are very sluggish. I don't think they're good at all either. And they're very bad in the red zone. And that's somewhere where Jacksonville can take advantage of, especially the way of how the Jags start this game. In order for this game to be the Jaguars, and in order for them to be able to beat the Chiefs, they have to find a way to come back in the game, and they have to be able to not come back, but they have to find a way to start out really strong, meaning they have to stay consistent on defense. They have to continue with the pressure that they give on Patrick Mahomes. They cannot just sit back and relax and let Patrick Mahomes do what Patrick Mahomes does and really like torch up the secondary and everything, because this team is too good for that. They have the talent for that, and they're too good for it. But the Jags have to be one step ahead of the Chiefs every single time, and I think they have a good opportunity to do so. I think the only difference maker here for this particular game is going to be because the game is in Kansas City, and obviously when you go to Arrowhead, it's never an easy time. It's never an easy time to go down to Kansas City and beat the Chiefs the way that you do. It's going to be very difficult for them, but um, I think it's going to be a really good game. And then let's talk about Jacksonville too. Let's talk about what they've been doing. And like I said, the biggest thing for them is they can't give up early points, and they have to start out strong. Meaning Trevor Lawrence is going to have mistake-free football from start to finish. That's what we're really looking at if you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, and you just gotta play mistake-free football from start to finish. That's all I can really add on that for the Jags, and for a team that's made it so far, a team that's been trying to get back on top, a team that's been trying to make a name for themselves, a team that's trying to find their identity. I think they're finding it. I think they're finding it at the right time. I just think they just have to be able to be one step ahead of the Chiefs, because the Chiefs will give them a run for their money. Patrick Mahomes will do whatever he likes to do. Andy Reid will coach up the team. He'll coach up the offense. He'll want to get everybody going and get them started with what they can do. And that it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough game, but so who do I really want to go with here? I really want to go. Do I want to go with Jags, or do I want to go with the Chiefs to play it safe? But here's the thing, though. The Jags they've been playing pretty good football lately. I'm not going to lie. They've been playing good football. They didn't have a great appearance in the first half last week, but they came back and they beat the Chargers in, convincing fashion. But will that happen here against the Chiefs? That's really the main question. And that's why I said Trevor Lawrence is going to have to play mistake-free football. So it's a tough game. I don't think the Chiefs cover this game. 8.5 is a pretty large spread, especially for the Chiefs. Just throwing that out there right now. They don't typically cover the spread very well. So that's something to kind of keep in mind when you're going to bet on these games. But Jacksonville also can be inconsistent too, especially defensively. I mean, they've got good corners. They have a good core at linebacker, and they have a good core on that line. The defensive line is pretty good, pretty solid. But they got to get them Mahomes, and they got to get to him fast, and they got to put pressure on him every single time. So I'm not sure who I really want to win this game, but I kind of want to see the upset. But I think I'm going to go with the Chiefs just to be on the safe side. I think Jacksonville is a good team. Don't get me wrong. I think they're finding their true identity. I think they're coming around at the right time. I think they're playing hot where they're supposed to be playing hot. But last week, if they start out the way that they did last week, they're not going to be able to beat the Chiefs, because the Chiefs will take advantage of that in the first half, and they pretty much will not play well in the second half, and they'll allow the Jags to score some points. But, it's Patrick Mahomes, it's Andy Reid, it's Arrowhead, it's Kansas City Chiefs. That's basically what it really comes down to. Now, if the game was in Jacksonville, it would be different, but it's hard to go to Arrowhead. Let's be honest. It's hard to go to Arrowhead. It's hard to beat the Chiefs at home. It's hard to beat Patrick Mahomes at home. Let's just be real. Let's be honest. Just ask Buffalo. It was tough for them last year when they had the game won, but then they lost it on with 13 seconds left, and Kansas City scoring that field goal to take them into overtime and drive down the field and beat them. So, ask teams like Buffalo, ask teams like the Bengals last year. They went in and they beat Kansas City, and they did a phenomenal job beating them. They had to come back and beat them. It's very rare if you come back and beat Patrick Mahomes, but a lot of this year of what we've seen, it's mostly, unless you're the Bengals, it's hard to come back against the Chiefs. So we got to start out strong. But I think I'm taking the safe bet, though. I'm going to go with the Chiefs straight up. But this is a game I don't feel comfortable with 8.5 for the Chiefs. So if you're going to bet on the spread, I would take Jacksonville plus 8.5 because I don't think the Chiefs are going to cover the spread. I think they're going to play lousy in the second half. They're going to allow the Jags to come back in convincing fashion, but they're not going to have enough to get them the win here, if that makes any sense. And I think it does. So I will take the Chiefs to win. I will take them to win, but I will take Jacksonville at 8.5. I think that's a pretty safe bet there as far as, the spread and as far as the straight up goes, because, I think realistically the Jags can do it, and I would be rooting for them secretly. I would be rooting for the Jags to beat the Chiefs. I don't really want to see the Chiefs in the AFC championship again. I really don't. But the reality is here is it's Patrick Mahomes, it's Arrowhead, it's Kansas City Chiefs. It's tough, and Jacksonville's a young team, a young and experienced team that doesn't really have that in them just yet. But I think Jacksonville will give them a run for their money. I think they'll do what they can to try to keep themselves in the game. All right, next we've got obviously my favorite team, the New York Giants. The New York Giants, who are going to Philadelphia to play the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Eagles are favored by 7.5 points. All right, so long story short, I was talking with my cousins before. We were in a fantasy football league this year with some of my cousins. My brother is in it too. So before I started this, I asked them, obviously I asked them about the best game of the week, which we'll be talking about after this one. And not half of them, but maybe like two of them in the group chat liked the Eagles and want the Eagles to win. And the rest of us that are in the chat are Giants fans. So it's pretty much, it's pretty much 6-2. Let's be honest, it's 6-2 people. So obviously we're Giants fans. We want to see them beat the Eagles. That's just something that we would like to see. We'd like to see the Giants beat the Eagles. And obviously the Eagles fans, like my cousins, significant others, both of them who are in the league, would also want the Eagles to beat the Giants. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a closer game than people think. And I'll tell you why. We're looking at the Giants right now. This is what they're looking like right now. They played excellent against the Vikings. They're playing they're playing kind of a similar defense like the Eagles, like they did against the Vikings. They're going to play a bit of a similar defense, although the Eagles' defense is better, I think, in my opinion. But they're also inconsistent too. So if they're not on their A game as far as the run game goes, and Saquon can have a big game, the Giants can probably put up a good fight against them in that respect. And as far as the quarterback play goes, Jalen Hurts has had a good year. I'm not going to lie. He's had a pretty solid year. He proved me wrong. He proved a lot of other people wrong. I'll admit that. I mean, he's had a pretty nice season too. But Daniel Jones also has been playing pretty nice too. I'm not a huge Daniel Jones fan. He's not my first choice as far as quarterback goes. But I got to give him credit where credit is due. He's a nice enough guy. He's a young kid. He has all the coaching staff, the best coaching staff that he can get. And they're turning him into something that, we didn't ever think of him going to before. We didn't think that Jones would be capable of this kind of environment as what we're seeing in him right now. And I think the Giants have a lot to prove. I really do. I think the Giants prove each and every week that they've played football. I think they've proven that they can compete with anybody. They can give a lot of teams a run for their money. That's something that's the Giants' way. They always play some teams very tough. Maybe not in the last couple of years. They probably haven't been that way. But, in recent times, and history shows that the Giants will give you a run for your money, especially if we're talking postseason stuff. So this is where the Giants kind of can take advantage here. The Eagles, though, They're still good. I think they're still one of the best teams in the NFL. I do say that. I will be honest with that. I think they still are. They're not my favorite team to make it far. I don't think they're going to make it that far into the NFC, or I don't think they're really going to make it to the Super Bowl either. And if they do, I don't see them really beating anybody in the AFC. I'm just being honest with you there. But at the same time, they're still a good team. They're a team that you have to prepare for. They're a team that you have to try to beat. And Jalen Hurts in the run game is very good. Let's be honest right there. He's improved as a passer. He's an excellent runner for a running quarterback. They've got a good running back. They have a good offensive line, probably one of the best offensive lines in football. They've got the receivers. They've got, the defense that can do it. They have the talent on defense. And it's, obviously for some cases, it'll be more like, the defense is kind of, get tricked up a little bit. Maybe they'll kind of give up some points here and there. But they're still a very good team. I think they're one of the more complete teams, in my opinion, but they're still not the most consistent team. They're not a team that, I would pick for them to, win against, the Bills or the Bengals or the Chiefs in that matter if it came down to the Super Bowl. I just don't see that happening. So as far as the Giants go, I think they have a lot to prove. I think Daniel Jones is also a big factor in this game too. I think he's helped this team get to the point of where they are. Obviously, Saquon Barkley is doing that exact same thing. Darius Slayton has done pretty well as a slot receiver. He's been doing really well there. So I think he'll have a pretty good game here too. The offensive line had a good game last week. I think they can kind of improve here. I think it can be a good, solid matchup on the line that could make things different. And the defense is pretty good. I still think the Giants' defense is still very underrated. I think they've got a pretty good defense. They play coverage well, except they didn't play well last week against the Vikings. That was a bit of, a bit of a scare right there. So the defensive plan will have to change against the Eagles because if you're playing coverage on defense and you're playing against the Eagles, that's gonna, you never know what they're gonna do. If they want to run the ball, they'll be successful running the ball. If they don't have success there, they're gonna want to pass the ball. So the defense will need to get things figured out. They're gonna have to change up things, and they're going to have to keep on top of it. They're gonna have to keep on top of it if they want to keep themselves in the game and possibly winning. So the final conclusion of this game, I want to go with the Giants, and I am going to go with the Giants. I'm not saying that because I'm a Giants fan. I'm not saying that at all. I know the first matchup was not a very pretty game, and I watched that game. It was not very pretty whatsoever. The second matchup was against all second, third string players, and they could have beaten the Eagles when they had pretty much all their starters starting. Like even Jalen Hurts, it was his first game back from injury. So that was a bit concerning. That's a bit concerning if you're an Eagles fan. And that's something they're going to have to really prepare for and get ready for. The Giants can probably take advantage of that. I think they can knock off the NFC East champs. I think they can make it to the division, the championship round. I think they can make it to the final two in the NFC. I think they have a lot to prove. I think at the end of the day, Brian Dable, I think Wink Martindale as the defensive coordinator, you can't go wrong with what they got. You really can't go wrong with what they got. And I know the talent isn't exactly there for the Giants. I think they've still got a year or two away from really making a name for themselves. But I think they beat the Eagles here because I think they're going to get – I think Nick Sirianni and this coaching staff for the Eagles is going to get outcoached. They're going to be better prepared, and I don't think the Eagles will be ready for it. I think they're going to kind of slip up this one, choke this one, and they'll let the Giants win this one. So I will go with the Giants. I think the Giants win. But as far as the spread goes, with the Eagles at 7.5, that probably wouldn't be a bad bet. I would highly encourage you to do that. I don't think that's a bad bet whatsoever. But I also wouldn't be mad either if you took the Giants plus 7.5. I would not be mad about that either. So I think that's something to take into consideration. Take a look at the money line. Take a look at the over-under. Take a look at whatever you've got, and I think you'll win some money there. I think this will be the game that you'll kind of want to put your money on, but you might want to play it safe and really think it out. So, all right, and here is the game of the week. In my opinion, this is the game of the week. This is the best matchup of the week, but it's also going to be a very emotional game, and that's the Bengals at the Bills. So, in recent times, correct me if I'm wrong. You can also make a comment down below too if you wish, or onto the live chat here. I don't care, or afterwards if you want to correct me. But I know before the playoffs started, I know if this was a game that was going to happen, I know there was going to be some talk of a potential neutral site where this game was going to be played. There was a couple different stadiums that they were looking into, like Mercedes-Benz was one. Lucas Oil Stadium was another one. There was a couple ones that they were kind of considering. I know the NFL was looking into and seeing if this would be a possible thing for them to happen. But as far as I know, and the way that Josh Allen spoke in his press conference today, it sounds like that they will be in Buffalo. This game will be played in Buffalo. And I think that's going to make the whole wild world difference for the Bills to take advantage here. So let's talk about both teams for a second. So obviously, the Week 17 matchup ended up getting scratched because we all know what happened there with the whole Damar Hamlin situation. So we don't really need to go in depth with that one. The start of that game, though, the Bengals looked like they were in sync. They looked like they were in control from the way they started that game. So that's also something to kind of consider here if you are the Bills, because the Bills had a slow start against this game, and we'll never really know as far as who would have ended up winning that game. The Bengals probably could have came out on top if they were to have continued, just by the way they were playing on offense, and defense was playing phenomenal too in that first, half a quarter that they played, maybe more than that, maybe 3/4 of a quarter they were playing. Um, you know, it's it's going to be a very emotional game. I'll put that out there right now. I think this is the game where obviously both teams are going to want to win this game. No question about it. If you listen to Joe Burrow today, or the other day whenever he was doing his press conference, he's not worried about being the underdog. He expects to win. He expects to win the division. He expects to win these playoff games because he knows the expectations of the team and he knows the capability of this franchise and this team and how far they can go. And I agree with him. I think the Bengals, they are pretty much a complete team. Minus the offensive line, that hasn't been too bad lately. But I think besides that, really, they have all the receivers. It's not every day when you run into a team and you have both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins as two number one receivers on your team. And then you have a Tyler Boyd that's really good, and you have a good tight end with Hayden Hurst. You got Joe Mixon, Samaj P. Ryan, and then Joe Burrow just, doing what Joe Burrow does. And the defense with Vaughn Bell is excellent. The corners are, a bit suspect at times, but they can also take advantage too at times if they wanted to, like Eli Apple. Eli Apple is probably the worst corner in the NFL. That's no exaggeration whatsoever. But at the same time, there are moments where he can cover, and there are moments when he can take advantage, but that's not all the time. So they have to worry a little bit about how they're going to cover Stephon Diggs, and they have to worry about whether Dawson Knox is going to have a big game or not. And they also got to figure out, too, if Josh Allen is also going to be running around a lot, which is something that we should already be expecting, and that's something that the Bengals defense is going to have to get themselves prepared for already. So let's talk about the Bills. Obviously, Josh Allen. They have Josh Allen. They have Stephon Diggs. They have a decent run game that, the Bills, if they want to win, they got to start running the ball. I think they can do that here. They can run the ball fairly well. I think Devin Singletary is, obviously he's no Derrick Henry. He's no Jonathan Taylor. He's no Alvin Kamara or anything like that. I mean, I get that. But at the same time, he's his own player. Devin Singletary, you've got to give him the ball at times. You've got to trust your running backs to run the ball. And anytime he does get on the field, he does pick up some good yardage. And then that's something that the Bengals will have to prepare for too. They'll have to figure out, well, are they going to run the ball too? Are they going to use the running backs, or are they going to allow Josh Allen to throw the ball everywhere? That's something that they got to figure out. The offensive line for the Bills, is not terrible, not great, but not terrible. Obviously, the Bills' defense is still pretty darn good. They're a very good defense. Um, they're dealing with a lot of injuries, though, on the defensive side of the ball. So that's something they've got to really look into, too. And that obviously showed against the Dolphins last week. But I think a lot of that last week was also because Josh Allen was turning the ball over a lot. And that is something that the Bengals can take advantage of. That's something that they will take advantage of, is if they throw interceptions, if they fumble the ball, that is something that they will need to plan for. And obviously, like I said, the defense is going to be, they're hurting a little bit right now. Obviously, without their safety, with Damar Hamlin, who's obviously not going to be playing the rest of this year, at least. It's going to be an emotional game. I think it's a lot, but I think the Bills have a lot to fight for. I think this is a team they want to win the playoff game, and not only do they want to win the playoff game, they want to go to the Super Bowl. And I've said it since before, day one after the season had ended. I said that the Bills were going to come back. They were going to come back hungry next year, and they were going to come in and fight. I think they have a lot to fight for against the Bengals because of the whole thing with Damar Hamlin when he got injured. Not injured, but when he suffered that cardiac arrest on the field in the first quarter in Cincinnati. They're going to have a lot to fight for. But again, it's going to be a very emotional game. It's going to be very emotional. It's going to be something that, obviously both teams are going to be feeling it big time. So, and it's in Buffalo. So the game so it makes the game a bit more bittersweet for the Bills, because now this game is in their home turf. It's a tough matchup, guys. I really love both teams. I've been very high on them all year long. I've really been high on them all year long, especially with the Bengals. I've liked them since Joe Burrow had came into the league. That's how long I've liked the Bengals, and I've liked the Bills since Josh Allen started becoming hot in his second year. It was his second year, and going into his third year is when I started following the Bills and really enjoying the way they play football. They have a great opportunity here to beat the Bengals. And, on paper, it may look like the Bengals are better just because of receiver-wise and everything like that. They probably do have more of the receivers that are dangerous, and the defense for the Bills are going to have to prepare for that. But the Bengals are also going to have to prepare for Stephon Diggs, so they got to watch out for that too. So 5.5 is the Bills. They're favored. I get that because they're home team. A lot of people want the Bills to win, and I think they do. I know last time I picked the Bengals to win, and I think if that game were to have finished and Damar Hamlin did not suffer a cardiac arrest, the Bengals definitely would have been able to win that game. I think they were in control of it. They would have been able to really be in control. But home advantage makes a big difference here. And if the game is in Buffalo, it's a tough place to play. You have Bills Mafia. You've got everything going on right now. You're playing an emotional game. The fans are 100% behind you. You've got a lot to play for. You want to show everybody you're a Super Bowl contending team. I think the Bills win it. I do, but I think it's going to be a very close game. I think it's going to be like an overtime-like kind of game. I think the Bills can do it. I think they're going to play their absolute hearts out. Josh Allen will play out of his mind. Stephon Diggs is going to break out at some point, I think. And if he doesn't break out, then they're going to have to go to Dawson Knox, I guess, in that case. Or they're going to have to rely on Josh Allen to use his legs or run the ball. There's a lot of things they got to figure out too. But play calling is going to be crucial for them. 100% is going to be. So Sean McDermott's got to call a good game. They cannot let what happened in Kansas City last year. They're going to have that in the back of their minds. And they cannot let that happen here. I think they have a lot to fight for. I think they do win it. Don't get me wrong. I love the Bengals. I've talked high on them all year. But this is the Bills' year. This is their year to win the Super Bowl. I think they get it. I think they win it. They start by winning this game here. They're going to beat the Bengals. And as far as the spread goes, 5.5 is a little bit, it's a little risky. I don't really like those odd number, like 5s and 4s or 2s for that matter, because it's just, how often do you see a football game end with like a 5-point margin? Sometimes you'll see more of it like in a 6-point margin or a 7-point margin or a 3-point or 1 point. Not oftentimes do you see it as a 5-point game. So that's kind of where I'm leaning at. But the Bills, I want the Bills. I really want to see what they can do. I think they get the win here. But as far as the spread goes, don't worry about the spread. I would take the over-under. I think the over-under is going to be your best friend here, because I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair at some point in this game. Probably this more towards the second half. I think it will be a little bit of conservatism at first in the first half, but then we're going to see an offensive explosion come out of nowhere in the second half is what I'm predicting, and I'm calling that right now. So give me the Bills. Go Buffalo. Go Josh Allen. And then finally, the game to end the divisional round weekend. The Dallas Cowboys at the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are favored by 3.5. They are 3.5-point favorites here against the Cowboys. And that is something that I definitely would take a look at. That's something I would take advantage of. The Cowboys, yes, they did play very well last week against the Bucs, but I think a lot of that was because of all the injuries that the Bucs have been dealing with all year on both sides of the ball, and that's where the Cowboys kind of took over there. I can't say they played a phenomenal game. They were able to take advantage of what the disadvantages of the Bucs, that's for sure. But this is going to be a different story playing against the San Francisco 49ers. That's what we saw last week for the Cowboys to beat the Bucs and Tom Brady that way. We're not going to see that again. We're definitely not going to see that again when the Cowboys go to face the Niners. We're just not going to see that, because obviously we got Kyle Shanahan. We've got the coaching staff of the 49ers. We've got Brock Purdy. You've got George Kittle. You've got Christian McCaffrey. And if I'm not mistaken, Debo might be playing in this game. That would be a big factor here, I would think, and I would hope. That would be a big factor. A good offensive line. Trent Williams in there. A really, really rock-solid defense. You've got it all. You've got it all. That's what the 49ers have. They're one of the most, if not the most complete team in the NFL. They've got the coaching staff advantage. They've got probably even the quarterback advantage. If I'm being completely honest with you, they've got the edge at running back. They've got obviously the edge at wide receiver. They've got obviously the way better defense than the Cowboys that's been dealing with injuries at that level. And yes, Debo did play last week, so we will be seeing him. We should be seeing him in this game this week, and had a monster game. Christian McCaffrey also had a monster game last week too. Brock Purdy, this is the guy that I feel like is going to take the 49ers to the promised land. I totally believe in Brock Purdy. I totally believe in the coaching staff. I think this is a team that's for real. I think this is a team that anybody in the NFC is going to have to look out for. Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, they all have to look out for them, because that's just how good they really are, and they're going to find a way to beat the Cowboys here. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Giants fan, and I don't typically wouldn't follow the Cowboys. And sometimes I would be honest if the Cowboys are good. They have had a good year. They've had a good, solid year. But you're playing against the 49ers, and you're playing in San Francisco. That makes a big difference. If this game was in Dallas, maybe it would have been a different story, but you've got injuries left and right. You got Mike McCarthy calling you all the play calls and messing things up. You have Dak Prescott throwing interceptions left and right, although he didn't throw one last week, so bravo to him. You've got offensive line issues. You got running back issues with Zeke that can't really do a whole lot on the ground anymore, and they're still paying him all that money. You've got an owner like Jerry Jones that knows nothing about football, but is a billionaire and owns the Cowboys and has too much say of what this franchise does. You've got Mike McCarthy again calling the plays like it's like the McDonald's menu. Guys, I'm just telling you right now, as a legit football fanatic like myself, and anybody else that's a football fanatic too, the Cowboys just, they lose it at this time of year. They're, as long as Jerry Jones is the owner and as long as Mike McCarthy is their coach, they are not, and I repeat, they will not win a Super Bowl until either one of those two are gone. Obviously, Jerry Jones is not going to go anywhere unless he's deceased. And then if he's deceased, then who knows? They'll probably be even in more trouble, or they could be better. I don't know. But regardless, though, the Cowboys, they've got a lot of things they got to work on. And I just think the 49ers will take advantage of it. I mean, they've got a complete team. You've got the best running back in the league, or one of the best at least. And probably in my rankings, they probably will. Christian McCaffrey probably will be the best running back this year, in my honest opinion. I think he's been the most consistent. I think he's been the most reliable. So I probably would put him as the candidate for like best, best running back of the year. I probably would consider him that because he's just been so good all year. And then you've got good wide receivers. And then you've got Deebo Samuel going in there and giving you a lot of lead room there too. You've got you got Nick Bosa on the defensive side. Nobody wants to face Nick Bosa, and that's something that the Cowboys faced last year, and they struggled with that, and that's why they couldn't beat the Niners last year. It's going to continue happening, guys. The Niners are here to stay. They're here to play. They're going to get this win against the Cowboys, and that's not exaggerating whatsoever. The 49ers are going to win, and they have the coaching advantage. They've got the quarterback advantage here. They got everything going to them. So the Cowboys, it's not a good matchup for the Cowboys. This is something that they're going to have to show up. They're going to have to try to come up with some kind of crazy miracle to be able to beat the 49ers, but it's not going to be very pretty. It's not going to be an easy game. I'm taking the Niners to win. I will take them to cover the spread at 3.5. I think that's very well possible that they could keep, the game could be close, but it also could be a blowout too, or at least more, like maybe like a 10, 14-point margin kind of a game, maybe 17 points there, so a couple touchdowns, a field goal, kind of a lead to kind of put the game away. I could definitely see that happening. So I will take the Niners. I'll take them to cover the spread because I think they can do it, because they can probably expand that lead and make it a much more larger deficit for the Cowboys to come back from. And with all that being said, everybody, that is my divisional round of the NFL playoffs picks for this week. I'm excited. I really can't wait to see what I can watch. Tomorrow I'll be at a wrestling tournament in the afternoon, so I may not be able to catch the first game, but I know the second game I should be back in time for, and that will be the most important game for me as a Giants fan, because I want to see the Giants find a way to beat the Eagles and prove everybody wrong that they're the best. They're one of the best coaching staffs this year, and Daniel Jones is coming back next year for the Giants. So that's what I want to prove to everybody. So to close off this video, if you have not done so already, please be sure to drop a like on this video. Leave a comment down below too. Let me know what kind of content you guys want me to cover moving forward. I want to help this channel grow. I want to help create more viewers. I want to help do whatever I can to help make this this podcast better for everybody. And I can't do that unless I get the people to do their part, sharing the word out to everybody. So like and comment. If you want to see more content, you got to let me know. Please let me know. And I know we're planning on some things. I know I'm planning some more things coming up in the near future that I think everybody's going to end up enjoying. So, and also too, that's also going to really help everybody. Please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell as well. So anytime I post new content, whether if I'm going live, whether if I post an announcement, whether or not I have pre-recorded videos and I post them on YouTube, you guys will get notified each and every time those new things come out. And every time they do, you'll be able to tune into them. So please, 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 please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And with all that being said, everybody, thank you so much for everything that you guys have done so far this season. It's been awesome. It's been real, and we're heading into the deeper part, of the playoffs. We're getting closer and closer to the Super Bowl, and I want to see who those teams are going to make it to the Super Bowl. I'm very anxious. I want to see what happens, and I want to see how it plays out. So, this is JP Football Fanatics. We are saying peace out, and I will see you all next time. It will be Monday night. I'm going to try and go Monday night for my recap reaction kind of video that I'll do for the divisional round, because I'll have a busy night Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So I got to try to fit it in Monday, so that way you guys can be in tune of what's going on. So everybody, thank you so much. I hope you all have a great night, and we will see you all Monday night for my divisional round recap reaction video. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.